everyone, welcome back to the exercise series from the first book on the reading list, Stubbornly Refuse, which will be found on our reading list at OCDrecovery.com underneath the resource tab. If you have any questions, if you need help with OCD or other anxiety-based disorders, although we primarily work with OCD, we work with everything, PTSD, anything that's an anxiety-based disorder, we work with it all, GAD, panic, and it doesn't really matter what we call it because there is a belief present. There are behaviors, compulsions, avoidance behaviors that we could show you how to break down from personal experience. And thank you again for all the support. And again, that is Phil at OCDrecovery.com. Please reach out. Do not sit in silence and suffer alone. We can help you. So, exercise 7, which can be found on page 60, at least in this book. Okay? Look for something that you really believe is awful, terrible, or horrible. See if you can find, as you most probably can, the must that lurks behind it. So, let's use some examples that I've seen in person over the last couple days. It's absolutely horrible when someone does not agree with my political views. I can't stand when other people tailgate me on the road. That's the worst thing ever, and I can't stand it. There's nothing worse than when I get to a trail to go hiking, and I just want to be at peace, and there's all these people. It's the 4th of July. What did you think was going to happen? So, all sorts of stuff like that. People don't understand. Everything that we do, there's a lot of musts, shoulds, and I can't stand it. So let's look at some of the examples that he has. I think that being rejected by someone I love is awful. I must not be rejected. I must be good enough to win their favor. This is very common with ROCD. A lot of people have that belief. I must be the only person they love. I must not find other people attractive. Good luck trying to tell your brain that you shouldn't be attracted to other people. Daisy's sitting right next to me, right here, about to, look at her. She's just staring in the shadows. She's in a mood right now, so I knew when I started this that she was going to be a little bit tooty. I knew that was going to happen with her Daisy blanket that's on my bed. That's been going around the WhatsApp groups. So always fun. So another one is the conditions under which I work are so disorganized and fair that I can't stand it. This is the worst thing ever. There's nothing worse than having an unorganized workspace. There's nothing worse than when people I work with don't recognize the work I put in. They should be acknowledging the work I put in. This is the worst thing ever. I can't stand it. Those are always big ones. Succeeding in life. I must succeed in life, and if I don't succeed, this is the worst thing ever. I'm gonna move. She's in such brat mode today that I'm gonna move this over here and pet her so I don't sell her on the black market, which I'm close. She's about to be sold on the black market today. There's no doubt about it. Do you want her? Actually, I'm gonna pay you to take her. Such a brat. So I must succeed in at least one long-term relationship. I must succeed in life and have money. This is a really big belief that a lot of people have where they really do go wrong. There's a lot of, a lot of the YouTube content that's out there right now that talks about needing to be successful is very problematic for the youth. Success is important in life from a monetary perspective, but there are many people that do not have a lot of money. 70% of Americans right now, from new statistics, live paycheck to paycheck. A lot of that is because of their own doing, no matter what anyone tells you. A lot of it is lazy behavioral traits, which is just the truth, but a lot of it is circumstance and where they were born and socioeconomics, etc. But it's not all victimhood the way people think. That's the reality. So it can't be, because everyone nowadays thinks $1 million is not enough. I've heard so many people say this. $1 million isn't really a lot of money nowadays. Yes, it is. $1 million in cash is a lot of fucking money. I don't care what anyone says. I mean, think about what $1 million looks like in a bank account if you have a reasonable spending, not problem, but you have like regular balanced spending habits, etc. It's a lot of money, and you're still working. It's just not what people think. Okay. Now that I have lost several good jobs, and I'll never be able to keep another good job. So a lot of people have these belief systems based around if they fail at something one time, they're never going to be able to do it. I had these beliefs myself because I've relapsed so many times. Now my chances are absolutely zero. And you use that to prove yourself over and over and over again why you can't achieve the things you want to achieve. This is super common. So whenever you get upset about anything, look for your obvious or hidden dogmatic musts. Assume that you really have them. If you can't find them, ask a friend or relative or a therapist or a coach, whoever, and see what they say. Okay, these are ones that I wrote. This is July 27, 21, so almost 3 years ago to the day. I think that being fat, chronically anxious are terrible. I must have an easy life. I must get the body I prefer, and I must get it now. So a lot of panic problems, a lot of body dysmorphia. Remember, it's important to write these out. People always ask me, are the audiobooks okay? No, they're not. And there are cases where like people have a hard time reading it, language barriers. That's not the case for most people. If you live in Europe, most places in Europe, or you live in America and Canada, and even most places in the Middle East where they could speak English in a more... I work with people in the Middle East who speak better, they speak proper English better than me. I'm not kidding. I mean, it's just not what people think. Getting the hard copy of the book if it can. Yes, it might take a while to get there. And doing these exercises on paper is a frustration tolerance building exercise. But there's always musts, shoulds, and oughts in your life that are holding you back. There is no doubt about it. There's nothing in my life that was holding me back without a must, a should, an ought, and I can't stand it. And I was listening to something today which was completely incorrect, but it gives the illusion that it is correct. And that was Carl Jung talking about how anger, what was someone doing a synopsis on Carl Jung and the shadows and the darkness, which is something he talks about a lot, which is a lot of extremely good principles. But one of the principles that I think is incorrect that Jung talked about and many other psychotherapists is that anger has benefits. It does not. It does not have benefits. Because they said that anger can help prove fairness. But usually the outcomes are not good. Okay, so let's say you have to use anger in a very tough tyranny situation to prove righteousness in war. Doesn't matter what your beliefs are on any side of the war that we're talking. This goes, not anything going on now, World War I, World War II, Vietnam War, going back, any war in Rome. Even though it seems like it has good outcomes, it doesn't. Millions of people die. Even when you win the war. Millions of people die. So that anger, although you did get an outcome that you wanted, had many negative outcomes. So anger does not do what people think. This is why the book, How to Control Your Anger Before It Controls You, in the Stubbornly Refused series, is such an incredible book for breaking down that common myth that anger gets you what you want in life. It doesn't. It usually gets you more problem. And when you beget to anger, you get more anger, and it goes over and over again. How do I know? Because I was a very angry person. I suffered with this immensely, and it really held me back in many things in my life. So really think about what anger does to you. Think about how much it's detrimental to your life, and really, really think about those musts and shoulds. And I'll see you on exercise 8, which will be tomorrow when it comes up, and then we'll go from there. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. Again, one of the number one reasons why I'm doing this is to show people the importance of consistency, day in, day out, getting it done. Phil at OCDrecovery.com, and hope to hear from you soon. Have a good one, everyone.